Welcome back to the Midwest Minute. I'm your host, Ross Thompson. Today we got a good one for you guys. We're going to be going over some of these fraud cases out in Minnesota, talking about kind of what they are, what they do, what to look for, and I'm just going to get your toes wet in these cases because they're ongoing, and you can follow along for yourself at home. And we'll kind of get into why you should care a little bit later, potentially. But so the first case has to do with HSS, Housing Stability Services. This is a Medicaid program that's designed to benefit people with disabilities and seniors that need to find and or keep housing. So they have housing consultation, transition services, sustaining services. So basically, this company contacts you or you contact them, and they provide these services with a fee. Well, they don't actually charge you; they charge your Medicaid through this program. This program pays the company, and the company gives you the services, right? So you can see kind of where the fraud has a chance to occur, and it did. It really did. So this program, and when I looked this up, this was actually really astounding to me because that's I'll just read it. So this program was predicted to cost $2.6 million annually, right? They passed the budget there. You want the votes. This is only going to cost $2.6 million. Yep, clean cut deal. Well, in 2021 alone, the program paid out more than $21 million in claims. That's tenfold, just under tenfold. The next year, it went to $42 million, doubled. Then $74 million, 2023, and the $104 million in 2024, and just the first 6 months here in 2025, they've already paid another $61 million. So you can do the math there, but that's well over $2.6 million a year that they figured. And now some of these programs, yeah, they can go over their number, but that's an alarming amount, right? And to anyone that's competent, you can look at that and you're like, holy smokes, what's going on here? Literally look into it. If it's legit, that's what the taxpayers and the voters voted for. If that's what they want, that's what they want. But you at least have to look into that, and it does raise a question of incompetence. But what do we do? We're here now. This money's been paid out. So these companies. So there's been six different charges in this HSS scheme that have been indicted. One already is in a guilty plea, but one of them is this company called Brilliant Mind Services, LLC. They're an HSS provider, and these names are all like foreign names. The defendants are all foreign names, so I'm not even going to attempt to say their names. It's not really relevant. I mean, I don't know them personally, obviously. So these names are out. You can look them up yourself. But it's kind of what these people have done, right? They found a loophole, and you know what? To their credit, they found it. They did it. It's really bad, and they should be punished. But so this Brilliant Minds LLC, the leaders of this through April 2023 to May 2025. They pocketed between $300,000 to $400,000 personally, just the leaders, and they do this by telling their fellow employees to inflate billing hours. It doesn't matter. They actually encouraged it because they can pay, or that they knew the government wasn't going to check them, and the government would reimburse them the billing hours to these companies. So that's fraud, obviously. Another company, Followed Care Inc., another provider of this HSS program. They had 100 different beneficiaries and claimed to be entitled over $2.2 million. There's another million. And to be said, and with all the earlier figures I said throughout the year, and a lot of that could have been to good use. It very well could have been, but $1 to fraud is $1 too many, right? Leo Human Services LLC. That's another company that also stated their billing hours, took advantage of the system. And when you look at these, a lot of these companies, they're family. One's a father-son duo. There's two brothers, the Adal brothers. They each have their own company, so they knew what they were doing this whole time. They knew what they were doing. And Liberty Plus again, 1.2 million Medicaid funds, 200 beneficiaries. And, this was supposed to be a groundbreaking resource to provide stability, assistance, and dignity to seniors and individuals with disabilities. Instead, the funds were diverted to pockets of greedy opportunists. And you may be wondering, like, how do they get caught? Obviously, the government wasn't doing their job. So it actually, funny enough, who caught them was a news agency, KRE 11, and they found the fraud. They analyzed this Medicaid billing data, and they revealed the problems, and they brought it to light. They reported on it. They've done interviews. You can look it up yourself. All the information will be on their website. A lot of it I found from there, on the Justice Department. Like, this stuff's easily accessible. They checked in on these people that, Liberty Plus LLC. They checked in on an individual that got contacted by them, and that this individual was barely getting by throughout the winter. It's a harsh winter up here north. Well, simultaneously, while they're getting this Liberty LLC was getting billed to help them, well, no help came. And it's just constantly, like, all these stories are the same, right? It was a lot of what I just shared was a lot of slop information, right? That kind of is repeating. You might even be confused right now. Sometimes I am myself. It makes sense to me, but it just goes to show that there's fraud in these systems, and the government, especially the Minnesota government, whatever if you've heard stories about them, they're not willing to look into this. They don't care. It's not their money. It's your money, right? If you're from Minnesota, you're a taxpayer. It's your money, not my money. I don't pay taxes. I don't even pay taxes in Minnesota. Like, no, I don't pay much taxes where I'm at. I'm young. It's the beauty of it. But if you're from Minnesota, that's your money going to these greedy opportunists. And I can't say for certain, but I almost bet that it's not a one-off. It's probably not even a one-off in that state. Other states are like that. I'm sure the federal government's like that. And it's just federal government inefficiency. It's what it is. And you see it from top down all the time, both parties. This is definitely a Tim Walz thing. And to his benefit, whether I believe it or not, who knows? Like I said, it's all headlines with these people, with these guys. Headlines, oh yeah, this looks good. Let's put that out there. So on Wednesday, Tim Walz announced that a third party will audit the Medicaid billing at Minnesota's Department of Human Services. So I hope this goes well for them. I really do, because why should the taxpayer have to be funding all this stuff? And if they can find some of this fraud, a waste, and abuse, and get it out of the system, that's a net positive for that state. And so I want to transfer over to another one that's a little bit more loose, but it's also relevant. And you could be barking up the wrong tree here with some of this stuff, but you know what? It's out there. I'm going to take a look at it. Some of the information I found is very good, so I'm definitely going to look at it a little bit. So it has to do with the election back in 2024 and elections here on out, right? So way back in 2023, right? A long time ago, Governor Walz signs a bill expanding access to driver's license. He said, and this is regardless of immigration status. That's, driver's license for all, regardless of immigration status. There's an estimated 81,000 undocumented immigrants in Minnesota. And so all of them just got a chance through this legislation to obtain a driver's license. And he says, and I'll quote him here, ensuring drivers in our state are licensed and carrying insurance makes the roads safer for all Minnesotans, Wallace said. As a longtime supporter for this bill, I'm proud to finally sign it into law, making our roads safer and moving us toward our goal of making Minnesota the best state to raise a family for everyone. Now, does that really sound like something intriguing? And to me, it's really not. I don't know. It's, and with all these undocumented, I'm not saying, it's not saying that there's 81,000 illegal immigrants, right? No, it could be HB1 visa holders, green card holders, stuff like that. Like, it's not necessarily illegal, but they're not American citizens, is what that's trying to get at. Like, it's a way for non-American citizens to get a driver's license. And whatever reservations are with that, you can probably make the argument that that's a good idea, right? Well, see, so let's say I'm not an American citizen. I want a driver's license. I live in Minnesota. Okay, I have my driver's license. Well, Minnesota in October, this was published in October, but Minnesota launched an automatic voter registration in April of 2024. This is to make the process more convenient and expand access to voting in their state. When a voter applies for or renews a driver's license, or state-issued ID, the automatic registration process begins. After the information, the DVS Service Center is forwarded to the headquarters, screened. The information is then sent to the Minnesota Secretary of State's office, cross-referenced with voter records, and then they're into the system. Now, you might say that there could be these checks and balances within the registration, but it's Minnesota. So now what really brought this to my attention was I saw on X, someone sent me a video on X, and it was a representative in the Minnesota legislature interviewing Paul Linnell is his name. He's the election director for Minnesota. And I'll read you, before I get into it, I will read you just this little mini blurb from it. You can look it up. It's in the, if you want, but. So Representative Anderson. So we give driver's license to anyone here. You don't have to be a citizen. You don't have to, which is a photo ID. So if someone comes in, they register, they have the driver's license, but they have an incorrect social or no social or whatever, so then they become incomplete. But if they walk in to vote with their driver's license, does that make them all of a sudden now okay? Election Director Paul Linnell. Madam Chair, so this is the designation on the roster for someone who registration has been incomplete. If they present the election judge with that acceptable identification document, that would clear the challenge from the roster. They would be permitted to cast a ballot. Representative Anderson. Well, okay, there's your problem potentially. So thank you. Paul Linnell. Madam Chair, at the time of registration, as well as at the time of submitting, every voter is signing that attestus affirming their eligibility to include that they meet all eligibility requirements, that they are a U.S. citizen. If it's determined that the voter was not, in fact, eligible, the information will be provided to the county attorney for investigation and potential prosecution. Now, there's a lot of information in that. So basically, what she's saying is, you have this. I'm illegal, not an American citizen, whatever. I have this driver's ID now from Minnesota, and I want to go vote. Well, you can't vote because you're not an American citizen, but I have this ID. And they say, okay, yep, your voter registration is incomplete. You can't vote. Well, actually, I have this ID. I have a driver's license. So then, is it upon the election official to be like, we need more ID, or they're like, oh yeah, you do have this driver's license. Yeah, come in and vote. And to a certain extent, they will go back and look. They're like, okay, this person shouldn't have voted. Okay, they have 3 months to do that. They have 3 months to say, okay, this person shouldn't have voted. Let's not do that again. Well, the vote already counted, people. Like, this person already voted. So it's not like you're like, okay, what did they vote for? I don't know. It's not happening. It's like, come on, guys. And I'm not saying that it would have made a big difference, but on some maybe state and local levels, it might have. And it brings light that this stuff can happen. People are out here saying, you have literally the election director saying like it could happen. According to Pew Research, this driver's license for all expanded it to 25,000 non-citizens in 2024 alone. Right. And also, according to Pew Research, more than 130,000 illegal immigrants live in Minnesota. Like, that's a problem in its own entirety. But that's a problem for another day for me. Now, Minnesota is also being sued by the Trump administration over this, alongside 6 other states, because they're not giving over their voter registration rolls. So the Trump administration goes out to all the states and they're like, please provide us with their voter registration rolls so we can just, double check everything, make sure everything is intact. Well, 6 states denied this. Correction on earlier. They have 42 days, not 3 months. A little bit off on that. But still, if you have 42 days to correct any of these illegal voters, well, it's like I said, it's still too late. You already voted. It doesn't really matter at that point. But yeah, September 25th, so just about a month ago, the Justice Department sues these 6 states: California, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania, for failure to produce their statewide voter registration lists upon request. Clean voter rolls are the foundation of free and fair elections. That's what Attorney General Pamela Bondi said. So that's literally not much has happened with that. It's kind of just there. It was just them announcing that they were doing it. So I don't really have much information past that on these issues. And another thing, like just the other day, last week, I was in town. I see this foreign lady, all wrapped up, if you know what I mean. Doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. It kind of does, but oh well. And turned the wrong way and into oncoming traffic on a one-way. Just not a care in the world. Just whoop. Goes a couple blocks, turns off like nothing happened. And thank God nothing did happen. Partially thanks to the other drivers that were paying attention. And it's just, stuff like this happens. But it just, so stuff like this, the driver's license for all, and it's, is it a one-off? Probably not. It's just, you just got to get used to things like that. Like people always say, like, "Oh, it can't happen to us. Can't happen to America. Oh, that doesn't happen." Well, it can. It probably did, but to a scale that would affect the, obviously the presidential election. No, but like I said before, $1 on fraud is $1 too many. One illegal vote is one illegal vote too many, and so that's just the base of it for this fraud stuff. Kind of a lot of information that I maybe could have presented in a better way, but kind of wanted to hammer this out when I can. Wasn't too organized, but I got a couple good ideas for some upcoming that will be more thoughtful, thorough, probably more fun to talk about. This was good, and I didn't even hit a lot of it. It's up. Like I'm here, I can give you information, but it's up to you guys to just to spend some time looking up things yourself. And that's kind of what I want to get people to do. It's like just start looking things up a little bit. I mean, it just what happened in the news today? How does this affect me? And like these two things don't really affect me on a personal level because I don't live in Minnesota. But who's to say that can happen in my state or a different state? Like it's these things we have to look out for, recognize these capabilities of where fraud, potential fraud can happen, spread light to it, and not only that, but you got to check on it. Like Tim Walz, you got to check on this stuff. Like obviously, it's not all on him, but it's his party, it's his cabinet, like it's his policies, his programs. So you want to implement these programs, fine, but that's what people voted for over there, unfortunately. But the fraud affects everybody. So yeah, I'll leave everyone with that. Kind of went a little bit longer than I thought, but yeah, just look things up. Look up these both of these cases, and you'll find information on them yourselves. So stay curious.